morning or afternoon, whenever you're doing the video. I just thought I'd just briefly talk about the pelvis before we start. Also, we're going to do a little bit of breathing for your lungs. Really important part of trying to keep your lungs nice and healthy at the moment. But just briefly, the pelvis. When you look at it, you can see, if I come a little bit closer to the camera first, you can see that they move. I'll show you at the back as well. The pelvic bones move. So you can see the bit that's in the middle, that's your sacral part, so this part here. Okay, so from the coccyx bone at the bottom here to the top, that's your sacral area of 1 to 6. Okay, above that we have the lumbar disc number 5, 4, and then on top of that will be 3, 2, and 1. Then it goes into your thoracics, so coming up to the back of the neck, which then takes you into your cervical part of your spine, which is the neck. Okay, so when we are lying on the floor, I'm looking for the legs to be out. As you can see, I've just got my hand underneath the sacral part of the pelvis. Okay, so when we start to move the leg forwards and backwards, can you see that inside the hip joint, the leg is going to move? But when we stay in neutral pelvis, you can just see I'm just keeping the pelvis still while moving the leg back and forth. If we start to introduce a pelvic tilt while the leg is moving, that's taking you in and out of neutral. Okay, just to be clear that a few people have asked me what is neutral spine in the past, but most of you know that. Okay, so I'm going to leave that to the side and we're going to begin just lying down on your back for me, please. And we're just going to do some breathing into the chest, the middle of the rib cage, and then into the belly. Okay, before we start. And you'll also need a red ball, so you can put me on pause for a second and just grab one of those. So you're only doing one exercise pretty much with the ball this morning. Okay, so have that handy for the next exercise. I've also got a block, but you could use a cushion. And let's get started. So lying on your side to lie down, or gently bring yourself onto your back. Okay, so from there, just make sure you're comfortable. And your arms, you're going to have one of your hands up on your chest and the other hand down on your abdomen into your stomach. All right. So if you really need a head block, you can have it underneath you, but ideally for this one, try not to. Okay. So if you've got any osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, osteopenia, you might need a little bit more head support, and it allows the ribs to drop. So in breath through the hand, and then notice how the rib cage is lifted. Now breathe out, and in through the nose, and out through the mouth. Last one, in breath, out breath. Now let's take both the hands onto the rib cage. So I'm just finding the base of my ribs. So my little finger is touching the base of the ribs, just spreading the fingers out, and then just start to breathe now in through the nose again, and out through the mouth. And just keep going with that. In breath and out breath. So while you're doing that, I'm just going to talk briefly about why we breathe into the lungs. So just keep your breathing in and out for me. So if we were to think about the upper part of the rib cage, is where the upper lobes of our lungs sit. Okay. So when we move our hands down to the lower rib cage, that's where our lower lobes of our lungs sit. So just do one more for me. In breath, up into the top of the rib cage, and then down underneath the hands, breathing out. Now move both the hands down onto the stomach and breathe here. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Just allow the neck and the shoulders to relax. And notice the rise and fall of the stomach. And keep going with that for me. Another 2 breaths in and out. Now, next move we're going to do is with the ball. If you haven't got your ball, you could use a cushion underneath or the block that you have, anything like that. So we're going to lift the hips up, again no head block if you can, and place it under the middle of your pelvis. Okay, and then just watch that your back isn't arching, so you might need to move the ball up and down slightly until it's comfortable. And just check those ribs aren't pushing upwards. Just drop the back ribs down so I can feel my shoulder blades resting, and the ribs inside my shoulder blades are also resting on the floor. Okay, so from here we're just going to go up with one leg and down with one leg. So think about the pelvis I just showed you just now, that when the leg comes up, we don't want to tip the pelvis back or forth. Okay, it stays really still. So I'm going to place my fingers on my pelvic bones, my thumbs on the base of my rib cage. Breathe in. Without disturbing this, we're going to bring the leg up and then place it back down, and then the right leg up and place it back down. So notice if you look at the pelvis, in my pelvis, when I'm going back and forth, I'm not rocking my pelvis. I'm just moving the leg bone up and down. So this is called your femur, the long bone at the top of the leg. Okay, so just keep going. 2 more. Up and down. Checking the back isn't arching as you place the foot down. Now hold it here, both arms to the side. Both arms drop back. Breathe out. Checking your ribs aren't pushing up towards the ceiling, and then bring the arms back down. And up and blow. Breathe in, bring the arms down. So you can imagine you're holding a bar in your hands, or if you wanted to, you could grab some hand weights to do this. If you do this exercise, this class once, and you think, oh, actually I might modify it next time, use some hand weights. If you haven't got hand weights, you could use a couple of tins, but just watch you don't drop them on your head. Okay, now we're going to slide the left leg out as both arms go back. And I'm still trying to keep my back in neutral to stop it arching. The right leg goes out. So I can just feel these lower ribs remaining in contact with the floor as my leg moves out. So maybe start to pick up the leg. So it's not sliding out, but just reaching the leg out from the hip. Opening out the hip flexors at the front of the pelvis, and also trying to think about using the back of my leg a little bit more now. And the right one, last time. Blow. Well done. Place your arms down, place your feet down. We don't need the ball at the moment, so we're just going to bring that out, bottom down, and put the ball out to the side or the cushion. Okay. So from here, we're going into pelvic tilts. Very, very small tilts. All right. And then we will be going straight up into bridging. So if you have got a head block underneath you, can you move that out of the way now? So now these pelvic bones are going to tip towards my lower ribs and then back to neutral. I don't want to overarch the back, particularly if I've got any back issues. Okay, so tip the pelvic bones towards you. You can feel your tailbone, your coccyx bone is lifted up off the floor, and put the tailbone back down and level up the bones at the front of the pelvis again. So tip it back. Draw these bones towards the lower ribs and then away from the lower ribs. My knees aren't really doing anything. I just feel that the feet are resting on the floor. Okay, just a few more. Roll it away from you and roll it towards you. Now keep rolling towards you. Press your arms down into the floor just a little bit. Press the feet in. Reach the knees over towards the second toes. Bring both arms back. Just watch if you've got anything behind you. Keep the arms there. Now stretch your spine along the mat, lengthening out. Checking those back ribs underneath your shoulder blades are on the floor. Then bring the arms back down. Breathe in. Push into the floor, reach the knees forwards, curl, arms over, lengthen. Lengthen the spine out, moving the ribs away from the pelvis and the pelvis away from the ribs. Arms coming over. Again, lift, pelvis up, arms coming over. Deep breath in. Roll down through the spine. We go for 2 more. So lift, arms overhead, lengthen back. In the way there, and then roll back down. Last one. Now we're going to keep the hips raised. When we come back down, this time we just bring the arms down by your side. Okay, now check your feet are level. You haven't rolled onto the outside edges of your little toes. You can feel the big toe, the little toe and the heel on the floor. So we're going to lift and lower just from underneath the back of the legs. So we want to engage the glutes and the hamstrings. Come down with a flat back and then lift these hip bones back up towards the ceiling, engaging the back of the legs. And hips come back and down and knees reach forward as you lift the hips up to the ceiling. Breathe in, lower. We go for 4 more. Lift the hips, lower the hips. So I'm pretty much coming up and down with a neutral spine. You can see I'm not curling my tailbone up and down anymore. Okay, so lift. We've got 1 more to go. Working into those glutes. Hips up. Now hold it here. Raise the heels up off the floor, arms to the side. Roll down through the spine. When you get to the bottom, lower the heels down. Bridge back up. Reach out through the knees. Lengthen the neck. Lift the heels. Roll back down, heels down, lift up, lift the heels, roll down, and at the bottom come back up with the heels raised, lower the heels down, engage the back of the legs and roll down. And again, heels up, lift up, reach the knees away, lower the heels without disturbing the pelvis, and now roll down. So just make sure you engage your glutes a little bit more when you do that. Heels up, lift up, reach out through those knees, lower the heels to the ground, roll down through the spine. Let's do that 1 more time. Heels up, raise up, come down with the heels, lower the spine, and then we're going to change to heels into the floor, toes up to the ceiling. Press and lift and down. So we're just lifting those hips up and down 8 times. 2, 3. So at the top of the movement, I can just feel my glutes are having to engage a little bit more. 5, I think. 6, 7, 8, and hold it there. Arms to the side. Lower the toes. Roll back down. Lift the toes, lift back up, reaching out through the knees. Lower the toes, roll down, lift the toes, come back up, hold it here, come back down, lower the toes, bridge up. Lift the toes, both your feet, roll down. Do 2 more, toes down, lift the pelvis, toes up, roll down. 1 more, toes down, lift and bridge. Now just move your feet slightly closer. Keep the ribs down, so my front ribs are just dropping into the back ribs. I'm not pushing these ribs up to the ceiling. Okay, keep reaching out through the knees. You see how level I am with the front of my hips. I'm holding with those glutes. Just hold it. Breathing in and out. So I can start to feel the back of my legs working. Just holding in, out, in. Last one, and then roll it all the way back down. Well done. Bring the knees into the chest slowly. As you hug them in, you might be feeling the back of the legs. So just rock out side to side. Okay, placing 1 foot down onto the floor and then the second foot. Arms are going wide for side to side position. I'm going to take my legs to the right hand side, so just watch what I do with my feet. I pick up the left foot, I reach out through the knees. We roll the rib cage down into the floor first to bring the pelvis and the legs up. Take the legs over to the left. I'm lifting just the bottom ribs on my right side. I'm going to take that right knee and stretch a little bit further over the top of the left leg. Breathe in. Roll the rib cage back first. Back to center. Those that want to take it to the next level, you might need a head block now. So take your legs up or keep them down. If your back arches, keep bringing those front ribs into back ribs and hold. Take it to the side and over and hold. And up. Feet together, knees together. Take it to the left. To center. Over to the right. Hover, hold. And I'm taking it to the next level, so please stay with those first two levels. So as you come back to center, I want you to extend the left leg up towards the ceiling. So if your hamstrings are tight, you might not want to do this. Take the legs over to the right, look left. Come back into center, bend the left leg, straighten the right leg, take the legs to the left. Hover, hold. Back to center, one more each side. Change. Go right with the legs, look left. Left arm reaches out. Back to center. Change legs. Over to the left. Bring it back to center. Lower the legs down to the floor. And give your legs a stretch out along the mat. Okay, so from here we're moving into a chest lift with straight legs. Excuse me. Just pull up my trousers. So arms are out behind you first. Take a stretch. So you won't need a head block unless you really need it there. Okay, now take the arms up, link the fingers and place them around the back of the skull. Elbows lift up off the floor. I'm not trying to jam them into my head, but just I can see them in my peripheral vision, just slightly outside of my eye vision. Okay, then the elbows lift up, the shoulder blades lift up off the floor. We take a breath in. Now be mindful here, if you've got any neck issues, can you just do some leg slides as we've done in previous modifications in the classes. Let's curl up to breathe out. Looking down to the feet. Take a deep breath in and then release it from the front of the rib cage. So I'm moving my breastbone away from my ribs. Breathe in. Again, breastbone starts to move down towards the rib cage. We make that contraction happen in the stomach. Breathe in. And then come back down. So I'm just lightly touching my head, on my elbows feel like they're pulling across the ceiling to get that lift. And then bring it back down. Okay, let's bend the knees and place feet on the mat. Let's curl up again, breath out, lift up. Hold the legs and pull up a bit higher. Take the hands back to the head as you breathe in, elbows pointing forwards. Roll down. Repeat, curl. Reach, hold, pull up higher, bring it back in, lower down. 4 more, curl. Remember, this is contraindicated, so if you're not able to do any flexion, carry on with the leg slides or go into some toe taps if you know what you're doing, if you come to my classes. So toe taps, so carry on with that. I'm just going to show you. Toe taps would just be this one, down and up with the legs. Okay, checking the back doesn't arch. So 1 more, curl up, hold it here. Okay, so we're going to hold the contraction. Take the hands back to the head. Stretch your left leg out along the floor. Now stretch your right leg out along the floor. Now bend the right leg, place it on the mat. Then the second leg. Now release the shoulders back down, breathing in. Curl forwards, feel those front ribs tuck themselves underneath the heart. Extend the right leg out this time, and then the left leg out. Left leg comes back in, then the right leg comes in. We lower the head and shoulders. We're going for 2 more. Breathe out, curl. So you might start to feel slight burns. If you want to modify it and come back to just up and down, or have a stretch out, that's fine. We've got the last one here, curl. Reach the right leg and the left leg. Come back in, left leg, then the right leg, and then we lower everything back down. Well done. Knees to chest again. Hold the front of the knees, roll the hips. Okay, place your feet on the floor. We're going to roll over to your left hand side to sit as we go into the roll back. So we're putting the feet on the floor or the front edge of the mat. We need plenty of room behind you. You don't need your block just in case we go all the way back. Okay, so the hands go underneath the thighs. And we sit nice and tall, so think about your posture. We don't want to be slouching. The further you bring your legs towards you, the harder it is to sit up straighter. So move your legs out, sit tall. Just make sure you haven't got any problems in your coccyx. If you have, you might want to come and lie down and do a side to side exercise. So breathe in. Start to feel your coccyx bone tuck under. You're bringing your front ribs into the back ribs. These back ribs are moving backwards away from you. Take a breath in, pull up on the legs and lift the chest. Tailbone under. Can you see? I feel like my legs are moving away from me, but they're actually just straightening out at the hip and the knee joint. Okay, elbows bend wide as you come up, and you can take it to the next level, so stay with that one if you prefer to. Okay, we go for 4 more. In breath, roll back up. In breath, out breath, roll back up. Last 2. In breath, roll back up to sit. Last one. In breath, roll down, hold and pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and hold. Roll all the way back up. Now we're going to come and lie on your stomach for diamond press. So you're going to have your hands in this position under your head, with your elbows, the palms of your hands are on the floor and your elbows are going to be on the floor as well. Okay, so I'm going to turn around this way. Doesn't really matter which side you lie on. So once you're lying down, you get your hands under your forehead. I will probably sit up and just guide you through this exercise, but I might do a few repetitions to show you to start with. Okay, so hands underneath the forehead, elbows pressing down. Just allow those shoulder blades to glide down the rib cage. Breathe in, pressing into the hands, pressing the pelvic bones either side of the pelvis into the floor, and lift your breastbone up and forwards. Breathe in, hold, breathe out to come back down. So as I'm lifting, I'm trying to create some length between my tailbone and underneath my rib cage. Okay, so breathe out to come up. I'm just trying to extend into my upper thoracics, legs are long. And then bring it back down, breathing in. Out breath, lift. Still feeling those ribs sliding down the back of my ribs, my shoulders down the back of my rib cage, and come back down. And 2 more. Lift up, blow, breathe in, hold, keep going. And roll back down. Last one, breath out, curl all the way up. Come back down. Now, if you've got any shoulder issues, you might find being here with your arms is not a good choice for you. So bring your arms here. I'm going to modify it for going into swimming. So the forehead goes down. We either lift the right arm, left leg up together, or chest comes up with the right arm, or harder still, you need to be able to get up quite high with this one. So if this is too much for you, you keep your arm to the side. Okay, so if I show you from this side, so breathing in, we're going to change to the left arm, right leg. So it's a lift up, head and shoulders, bent elbow, right leg, left arm, come down, same side again, and down, or more advanced level, left arm, right arm extended as we lift the right leg, left arm, and down. Okay, so go for 1 more. Now we're moving straight into alternate. So my right arm and left leg comes up and down, and breathe out, lift. Remember, you're not going into that lumbar area, just think about pressing each side of the pelvis down into the floor. And in breath, and out breath, lower. In breath, neck is long, just feeling those shoulder blades gliding down the back. Go for one more each side. So lifting up and down and up and down. I'll take it into child's pose, but if you have any knee issues, can you lie on your back and hug your knees into your chest? Just give the back a stretch there because you don't want to be on the knee joints. Right, so bring yourself up to sit, grab your block and place that underneath your head as we move into side lying position. So I'm going to modify it. So we do two different versions. Okay. If you want to make it harder, no head block and your arm is underneath you. Your hand is going to be on the front here. If you're using the block, your arm is in front, lifting up the waist and legs are together. So the hand is on the hip. I want you to just press the hip away from you so you're not sinking the waist into the floor. I'm going to raise both legs up and down. I'm working into this portion here. Can you see my thumb and fingers come closer towards each other and then they move away? Now, if your back is an issue, bend your bottom leg, and can you only work through the top leg only, please? So the left leg goes up and down. Remember, we're not lifting from the front of the side of the leg, we're lifting from the glutes. Okay, so lift up from the bottom and down. So when my leg goes up and down, or legs, if you're working at the higher level, I'm thinking about keeping my waist up off the floor, so I then can get into those glute meads at the side of the pelvis here. So I should be feeling where my thumb is working. Okay, if your leg's too far forwards, you won't feel it so much. Last one, hold the legs or leg up and pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and hold. Okay, lower the legs down to the floor. All right, now the next one, we're going to move this block out of the way. Put your left hand in front of you and your right hand round the back of your head. So you're supporting your head. You're going to bend the bottom leg and lower the top leg. And this is quite a tricky one to do, so if you want to modify it by just rolling forwards and backwards, keeping the elbow down, you could. Okay, so we're going to push that hand a little bit further forwards, push up with it, rotate to look at the hand. Now this right elbow here is going to come forwards as I control it to come back down. So you can move the hand wherever you wish, but you're using the tricep on the back of the arm. So it's a push and up and down and back. We'll do two more. Push and rotate, down and back. Last one, push, rotate, back down, release it, bend the knees, and let's move into Oyster. So we'll take the block back under the head or the arm out underneath you. Okay, knee up and down. Notice my feet are down today, but you could bring your feet up off the floor if you want to. Okay, so knee up and down, and blow and breathe in. So again, I'm just working from just the side of the pelvis here into the glute medius. Okay, so I'm just watching my body is rocking back and forth, shoulders are staying stacked. Give you 10 pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and hold the 10th. Lower the knees, straighten out the top leg, side kick forwards and back. In breath, out breath. One more. Bring it back down, bend the knees. Now use that hand to push yourself back up, and let's move to the other side. So block or arm underneath you, side lying. Okay, straight legs, and we lift the waist up underneath you. Okay, if you've got your arm out in front, remember that's more challenging. Hand on the hip, both legs up and down. So I'm using the inner thigh of my bottom leg to help me push the top leg. So I go quite heavy with the top leg. So it's actually the bottom leg that's going to push it up. I'm still using the waist here as well. 1. Go for 4 more. 2, 3, 4 and hold. Pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep going. Remember, you can do this with a single leg, modifying. That's what you do on the other side. Hold it there. Now lower the legs, bend the bottom leg, move the block out of the way. Left hand cups around underneath the head, right hand in front of you. Okay, we're going to push up, or you're just going to roll forwards and backwards. Okay, so bend the bottom leg a little bit more if you need to. Push and rotate back and down. This is a bit easier this side for me. My other side is a lot harder, a bit weak in my left arm. So you might find it's different this side. Rotate, center, down with control. Last one, push, center, back and down. Let's go into your oyster. Feet together, block back underneath the head if you're going to use it, and the hand back on the hip. Feet stay down, or got the second option of bring the feet up. Bring the knee up. Can you just hear my hip just release it? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold and pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and hold. Bring the legs together, straighten out the top leg as we go into your side kick. Forwards and back. 2. Keeping the hip, the knee and the foot in a line. So we don't want the leg down on the floor too close, okay, or up here too high. 2 more. And every time I kick that leg back, I'm just thinking about the front of my ribs staying down and in. Lower the leg. Well done. Bring yourself up and push up and come and sit. Okay, so we're going to sit in a mermaid position. So you're going to bring your legs here. Okay, so can you see I've got one leg in front of the other. You could sit with them like this, but we're just doing it like this today. Okay, so the hand, just move this block out the way as well. Right hand goes underneath this leg. The left arm goes up to the ceiling. We pull and stretch, dropping the shoulder away from my ears, keeping the elbows straight. Now, as you come down with the left hand onto the floor, take it a little bit further out, drop the elbow and take the right arm, raise the outer ribs up towards the ceiling. Breathe in, reach towards the leg, push up with the left hand. Once you've got hold of this right leg, pull and slide the left hand in and then come over. And left hand down, slide it away, come down onto the elbow, keep the shoulder down, arm goes over, arm reaches, push up, hold the right leg, slide in, left arm up, pull and over. One more time. Down with the left hand, slide it away and onto the elbow. Now this time stay here, reach the right arm, bring the hand down towards the right buttock and drop your side of your head to open out the right side of your neck. Okay, now look towards the left wrist, look center, keep dropping the head, look left, look center, one more time, look left, center, arm comes up, reach out. Now as this right hand comes down, hold the leg, slide it in, let's change sides. So again, into your Z-sit position. Now I've got scoliosis in the lower part of my spine, so I do find this side a little tricky. So if you find that too, it's probably because you might be aware that you've already got maybe a little bit of scoliosis going on. So left hand tucks under, over towards the left, okay, and then hand comes down, slide it away, come onto the elbow, lift the left arm up, raise the outer ribs up, hold it. Reach the left leg, straighten the right arm, hold underneath the left, up and over to the left. That's such a good stretch. Hands down, bend the elbow, bring the arm over, open the ribs, left arm, straighten the right arm, tuck the hand under, pull on it, bend to the left, right hand down, elbow down, open the ribs. You've got one more to go, push, over, hold the stretch. Now remember, this time we come down, we stay on the elbow, we bring the left arm over, we then just allow that head to drop to the side, we reach the left arm away from you, hold somewhere here, so let the head drop and then just rotate the head to the right and back to centre. Just gives the neck a little bit of a stretch. You can do some circles of the neck if that feels good. And then back to centre. Well done. Hold the leg, pull yourself up. We're going onto hands and knees. So if you're someone with knee issues, you might want to come up onto a wall to do this exercise. Okay, we're going to thread the needle. All right, so bring yourself onto your knees and your hands. So find a comfortable position on your mat. Okay, so I don't want to be raising the spine up, tucking the pelvis under, nor do I just want to be really sagging the rib cage down into the floor. So find somewhere in between the two. Take the left hand off the floor and feed it underneath the right arm. Elbow bends, drop the left shoulder and look along the floor to the right hand side. Slightly pull the right shoulder back and reach the left arm further underneath. Press into the right hand to come back up. Left hand goes onto the floor. Take the right hand underneath and feed it through. You might see me shuffling my right foot. It's just got a little bit of cramp in there. Okay. Pull the left shoulder back. Press into the left hand. Bring yourself up. Okay. Now, if you need one, you could put a cushion in front of you. Coming down onto the elbows. Okay, we're going to work into the glutes a little bit today. So I'm going to start with the nearest leg towards you. So I'm going to lift my chest up and forwards and then pull the shoulder blades down. So I'm working my triceps and I'm working into the lats and serratus in the back of my arms. So bring your left foot and flex it. The right foot can stay relaxed. I'm just going to reach myself away from the floor. If you prefer to do it with the arms straight, you can. Now it looks like my rib cage is dropping, but it's not. Okay, bring the left leg up to a 90-degree angle. Now swing it back underneath you and press with the heel to the ceiling. And I'm keeping my hips square. And I'm pressing my elbows forwards into the mat. Okay, and 4 more. Push and under and press. Engaging right into the back of my leg. Another one. Hold it there. Now we're going to bend and straighten the leg, reach and flex, and point and flex. So if you're feeling it in the neck come up, point and flex, point and flex. And you see when I flex my knee at the knee joint, I'm not letting it drop. Okay, so you've got to keep it lifted, lift and straighten and hold it there. Now tap the toe down and lift, down. And lift. Be careful you're not leaning all over to one side. Keep the weight even through the arms. Abs are slightly pulling up and in when I raise my leg up. 2 more. Lift and lower. And lift and lower. Last one. Well done. Bring the knee back in. Come up to kneeling on your knees or comfortably in this position as we just roll the shoulders. Because you're working your upper body just as much as the lower. It's like a full body integration now, okay? So everything's working together. Come back down onto the elbows. Push the elbows forwards and upwards and keep the back in neutral, okay? So I can just feel my muscles gently pulling up. Flex the right foot, raise it up and down. Now just be mindful you're not twisting the pelvis. This would be twisting, okay? So keep the pelvis level. Sometimes it's good to have a mirror just in front of you to see what you're doing. Hopefully you're mirror imaging what I'm doing. 3 more. Push. Neck is long. Triceps, the back of the arms working. Last one, hold it here and straighten and bend. So you've got the option to come up to straight arms as I did in the last one. Keep the leg raised, flex and point. 3 more, in and out. So I can feel the back of my leg working, glutes and hamstrings. Last one, hold it there, tap down for 8. 1 and lift, down and 2 and 3. Maybe you can come up to straight arms if your neck's starting to get tired. But keep trying to push those elbows into the mat. Last 3. 2. 1. And take a little child's pose stretch, or lie on your back and hug your knees into your chest. Okay, so from here we'll come back onto hands and knees or against the wall. Move your hands slightly further away from you. Come back into your child's pose. Okay, so squat down a little bit if you're up against the wall. Now come up and forwards. Lift your chest. Drop your hips. Lift your breastbone. Can you make sure your glutes are working here? So to protect your back, breathe in. Raise your spine up towards the ceiling and push your hips back. Raise the spine up into a cat stretch, lift the chest up and forwards, deep breath in. Just rotate those elbows slightly so the front of the elbows facing forwards. Head and chest starts to move back, push back. Now if you want to make it a little bit harder, at this position, instead of just bringing your hips back like this, so this is the easier version, what you can do is stay here, tuck the toes under, straighten the legs, push the hips up to the ceiling, drop the heels, lift the chest, drop the knees, relax the feet. So tuck the toes, lift the hips straight up, push the hips back, drop the heels down, lift the chest up, drop the knees, relax the feet, lift the chest. 1 more. Toes tuck, lift the hips, drop, chest up, knees bend, back into a child's pose. Good. Well done. Now we're going to bring ourselves up to stand, where we're going to finish with roughly about 5 minutes of standing balance work, okay? So bring yourself up, might be less. Right, so stand onto the floor or the mat. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to stand on the floor for your balance. So stand with your feet and knees hip width apart, have a look. Raise your right heel up off the floor, hands on the hips, lower through the foot. So I'm rolling the ball of the foot and then bring it back down. Raise the heel, push the front of the foot forwards, lower it down. Both together, lift the heels, back down. And again, lift up and down. And lift and lower. Lift up, hold, and then drop one heel, change the other side. So if you know reformer, you'll know that this is running. Okay, now we're going to stand with your feet and knees into a small V position, and we raise the heels up and we drop them down. Trying to lengthen the spine. In breath, out breath. Or you could bring your arms up and down as you lift, breathing in and down. Or if you had hand weights, or if you do this class again next time, maybe introduce some hand weights within the exercises. Hold it here, go slightly wider, and we're going to bend and sweep up, and then we're going to bend and sweep down. So it's breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, and then breathing out. Last one, breathe in, and bring the arms down by the side. Okay, now shuffle your feet. So I'm going to come straight back to side on. Shuffle your feet together, arms in front. Actually bring your feet hip width apart. And we're going to take that right leg back behind you, lift it up, Allow your body to tip forward slightly, arms out wide to the side or slightly side. Bring the knee back in, place the hands and arms, let that down. I'm going to swap over sides here. Arms go forwards, left leg goes back, balance on the leg, take the arms around, drop your chest a little bit more, find the whole of that right leg and left leg, bring yourself back in slowly and give yourself a clap. Well done, brilliant. Right, so the next class we'll do is maybe a little bit of a harder pace. So remember to modify everything or stop for a bit, give yourself a bit of a breather, and I shall see you soon. Thank you very much, everybody. Really missing you all and hope you're all okay. Take care. Bye.